What is going on, fellas and lady fellas? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, we've got two new cards, both that are actually kind of freaking nuts. And I'm going to go through a whole thing with the second card, but both cards are pretty nuts. But let's just get into it, okay? They're both revealed for Eternity Code in the last day, and I don't know why, but Konami just decided Eternity Code is going to be nuts. It's been good card after good card, even if they're specific to archetypes. There's like an amazing dinosaur card, amazing, I don't know, amazing, but a pretty nice ABC card, like decks that are already pretty rogue, a trap hole that's really good generically, really, really solid. But let's get into it. Today, we're starting with Arch Nemesis Eschatos. It's a light dragon with a special summon effect. He's a level 11, 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense if you want to see him in better quality here. He's kind of weird to tell what's what, but this is a wing, this is a wing, this thing is the tail, this is his long neck, and his head is over here, and then his arm and arm. Kind of weird to see, though. Anyway, for what he does, he must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 3 monsters with different types that are on the field or in the graveyard. Okay, so it banishes. That's interesting, but you just need to set up 3 different typed monsters on your field or in your graveyard. Not the hardest thing to do for a more combo-y going second deck, which is where this card is really going to shine, if anything. But yeah, not bad. And then you can only use the second effect once per turn. This card on the field cannot be destroyed by card effects. I mean, that's just a nice little bonus. It's still targetable. It's still destroyable by battle. So not crazy, but that's a nice little bonus. But the real kicker is this. You can declare 1 monster type from among monsters on the field as cost. Destroy all monsters of that type on the field. Also, neither player can special summon monsters of that type until the end of the next turn. Now that is really, really interesting, because when we look at certain decks, like really what I'm mainly looking at is something like Orcust, right? Like you go second against Orcust as long as you're able, maybe you bait stuff out with like an engine and like you put 3 different type monsters on the field, then you banish them on special this guy, you attack, I don't know if you'd attack first, but you might activate it. Even if they have Dingirsu to protect, you still just locked them out of special summoning dark machines for all of next turn, which means they probably don't do anything. If they're playing Striker Orcust, they can still do stuff with the Striker engine, but as far as the Orcust side, they really cannot do much. And I think even with the Striker side, they can't do much. And then this is at least another beater, and you can just do the same thing again. As long as there is a dark machine monster on the field, you can just do the same thing again every single turn, because that's just a once per turn, which is super, super strong. And it's the end of the next turn, so they couldn't do anything that turn, and they can't do anything the turn after. A really, really powerful effect. We'll see if it comes into play. It seems like it's going to need some specific synergy. It's going to need some things. Like it's going to be playable in a deck that goes second, specifically, because that effect doesn't really do anything going first. It's going to need to be a deck that plays different types and can turbo through different types going second. Maybe this could be an interesting card in something like Crusadias, because they kind of drop a lot of different type monsters out of the hand, and all you need is 3, and they use link monsters that are different types as well. I think their guy is a spellcaster, their link 1 at least, and so that could be something interesting. And then follow up with this card to help kill. Could be something. We'll have to see. But definitely an interesting card. Definitely a card people should keep their eye on. And if you like solid generic cards, you might just want to pick this up out of Eternity Code while you're there, right? Now, for the card that I'm actually even more interested than that is this. This is Fusion Dispatch. We can look at this card. It looks like Dark Blade. It's just kind of jumping out of the sky. I don't know. Pretty cool. I like the art. Anyway, it's a Fusion Dispatch. This is a normal spell that you can only activate once per turn. Its effect reads, reveal a fusion monster in your extra deck, and if you do, special summon one of the fusion materials whose name is specifically listed on that card from your hand or your deck. The caveat is you cannot special summon from the extra deck the turn you activate this card, except for fusion monsters. So this effect is super interesting, especially with Master Rules 5 coming around. There are decks that fusion-based decks that had to use links before just to even make their deck even work. Now they don't have to, which means that restriction is not as much as a restriction as it was before. And there are some decks that really, really like this. I went through literally the list of every fusion monster in the game, and we're going to go through those right now, just to at least take a peek. First up is ABC Dragon Buster. They still like to do some Link summoning and some XC's plays, but the most important thing is getting out Buster. So when it comes to that, that could just be a really strong follow-up play, just getting you an A, B, or C, probably B most of the time, just out of the deck, just so you can start doing, like, getting closer. And that could be the difference between getting to your Dragon Buster, because, you know, getting Buster is going to get you 2, because you'll try and, well, we'll see. You'd have to get him off the field. It's interesting. We'll see if the synergy works. And some of these are going to be a little wonky, but they're interesting at least. Amazonesses are interesting because they have, I think, 2 fusions, one of which you'd be able to special the Queen, and one of which you'd be able to special summon Tiger. Like, obviously, this is a super, super, like, casual deck. Nothing really competitive, but it's cool. It is like a nice buff. They're not really Link summoning much. They're not really doing any other types of summoning, really. You're really just going into your fusions, so it is just kind of a turbo card for them. I brought up Amulet Dragon, but it's not specific to Amulet Dragon, but any card that has Dark Magician, this is actually one of the biggest buffs. We're getting like some pretty solid Dark Magician support in the new Magical Hero set, and then this could possibly be another huge starter card for them. It just says like special summon Dark Magician from the deck. So strong for a deck like that when all their cards revolve around getting to Dark Magician. Really, really strong. You won't be able to make rank 7s and stuff, but at least it can get you the setup, and at least can turbo you into a beater, and that can really be enough sometimes for a deck like that to like get things going. So I really, really like Amulet Dragon for Dark Magician, and a couple of other decks like Dark Magician that we'll get to. Next up is B-Skull Dragon. This is not for Summon Skull really, but mostly for Red Eyes Black Dragon. Just same thing, like Red Eyes decks that are kind of based around like getting Red Eyes stuff out on the board. This at least just gives you a free Red Eyes. You won't be able to go into the Red Eyes XZs. You won't be able to go into Red Eye, like any Links or anything, any Guard Dragon stuff, but you at least can get to Red Eyes. So I don't know how good that is, because Dark Magician doesn't even really want to go into the extract that much anyway, so that's why it's better there. But you can do that. Same thing with Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes are much more XCs based than the other two, so I don't know how good this actually is, but it's just another one that's at least pretty interesting. Buster Blader is actually really interesting as well, because you can just special summon a Blader straight from the deck, and then there's a trap card in the deck, I believe, that will allow you to do a synchro summon to get out Buster Dragon, which will get you your full setup. Your setup is literally just Blader, Dragon, and what is that? Buster Whelp, I think. The one that says your opponent can't special summon for the extra deck, and then you have your lock. So this one could totally be a huge buff as well, just consistency wise, getting a Blader straight on the field, easy peasy, squeeze the lemon. It's interesting. We'll have to see if it's actually like combines well, because again, like some of these, like they just don't, because they're going to get the new Link, and the Link's actually really good as an engine piece for them, and there would totally be hands where you really want to go into Link, but you wouldn't be able to. So it's like iffy. Next up is Cyber Dragons. Again, they want to make XZs. They can use Links pretty well. So I'm not really sure if you want to lock yourself into fusions like these, but at the cost of being able to at least rip a monster out of the extra monster zone, that could be something. But I don't know if it's actually really worth playing in a deck like that really wants to make more use of their extra. Cyber Darks. You can special summon any of Horn, Edge, or Keel straight from the deck with this card. I believe Cyber Darks actually are a little bit more fusion based, so that might actually work for them pretty well. I know they had some decent support for them, but it's kind of oldish at this point. But I thought that was something interesting for rogue people that really love when Zane went bad boy on us. Anything hero. Like, I only put Air Neos here, but anything hero that has the specific names is super interesting. I'll leave that to the hero players out there to go through all of them and see which ones you can get free specials on. Keep in mind, you won't be able to go into some of your good new like hero Link monsters. You will just be stuck into the fusions, but depending on your hand, that could be enough. And depending on the deck you're playing, you may just need fusions after fusions. So we'll have to see, but definitely super interesting there. Dark Magician Girl kind of goes hand in hand with Dark Magician. Not as good as Dark Magician, but I know some people just love her. So if you're trying to play like a fun, casual Dark Magician Girl deck specifically, and not Dark Magician, you can just get like not only just Magician's Soul special her right out of the deck, but you can just special her out with this new card as well, which is nice. Invoked is kind of a wonky one as well. Like you'd think like, oh, that's actually really interesting, but I don't think it really is, just because like it only works if you open like Invocation. That's like the only way it works, is if you open it with Invocation, because Alistair doesn't get the search on special summon, it only gets the search on normal. So you could special him out, but if you didn't have Invocation, you're pretty much just going to be sitting there with an Alistair on your field. It wasn't normal summon, so you can't even go into Almirage, and you're kind of just a sitting duck at that point. So not the best case scenario. Gladiator Beasts. Gladiator Beasts are actually one of the better ones, I think, because, well, it's yes and no. Like, even though you may think Master Rose 5 is a nice buff to Gladiator Beast, they still want to make use of their link. Their link is just still so good, they still want to go into their link anyway. But it does let you do some things, like if your opponent had removal for the link, you might be able to play through it with this card. And some other stuff. Well, yes, you wouldn't be able to activate it the same turn. But, maybe if they solemned it, you'd be able to play through it, because it never hit the field. There's like specific situations, but it's nice because you just get a turbo card for like a Bestiary, an Augustus, a Vespasius, the new guy. Those are the three main ones that are like better, I think. Specifically like Vespasius and Augustus, because if you're playing the more control variant, you could just special summon them going second and then just go into the battle phase. Like Augustus and Vespasius are big enough to at least not like die attacking it into most stuff in attack position, and you'd at least get their effects to pop off and possibly go into a certain like popping play with like Bestiary and I don't know, maybe Darius to extend or something if you already had one engrave, and then you go Gyzarus to pop 2 more cards. So like there is some nice stuff there. I think it's pretty decent for Gladiator Beasts, actually. Like overall, pretty decent. Gem Knights are on here as well. Kind of the same thing as Gladiator Beast. They have a really, really powerful Link monster, and I'm not sure if this card is worth not being able to go into your Link monster, because this is an FTK type deck. If you don't kill in turn 1, you really don't have a great chance of winning a lot of the time against like a legit deck. So I'm not sure if the deck can afford to not be able to go into Phantom Core, but it was just one where there's a lot of options of what you can, especially because they have so many different fusions. So I wanted to bring it up here at least. Gaia the Dragon Champion. It special summons a Gaia the Fierce Knight straight from deck. This is more of a just kind of same thing with like Dark Magician Girl, like casual at best type deck, but it's cool. A lot of people really like the classicness of like Gaia the Dragon Champ, or Gaia the Fierce Knight, I mean. And so just being able to special summon him easy, or Curse of Dragon, like another classic Yugi monster, like that's pretty cool to them. And so if you like that on a casual level, that's cool. One that actually is another one that's like really interesting is Fright First. They already got a huge buff, or Fluffles, I guess. Got a huge buff from Master Rule 5. This is just one more really good starter card for them. Just special summoning an Ed Gem Sabers, like anything, just getting a free like material out. I'm not sure how good those special summons are, if they can, like, I don't know, provide them extra pluses depending on what specifically can get specialed off of the Fright for monsters, but it is a free special nonetheless, and could be a nice turbo card for them. Next up is Shura the Combat Star. This is a very specific card that came out. These are specific cards that came out in the last Battles of Legend, or I guess 2 Battles of Legends ago. I think 2018. But Ida the Conqueror Star. This is like a weird like fusion-based archetype with like level 5 warriors, but like they don't get themselves out easy enough. So this is just like a free card that just gets this guy, Ida 10, straight out of the deck, which is pretty interesting. Which is if you can get like any of the other ones on, like you can just go like right into like your fusions, because their fusions do get very, very strong, very, very fast. It's interesting if you thought they were cool when they came out. Another main character card, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, you can just special right out of your deck, which is pretty cool. There's not really much to say there. And I think the deck will want to do some pendulum summoning, which you cannot, because you cannot special summon anything from the extract, including regular monsters that are face up. And so like I don't think this is actually very good, but it was there. Prank Kids, again, another one that's like wonky, because you get a free turbo for any of your Prank Kids, any of your main 3 Prank Kids, but you won't be able to go into any of the links. And the links, you usually need a combination of the links and the fusions to make a good turn 1 or turn 2 play. And so I don't think this actually works out in this deck. Ojamas, definitely a more casual one, but if you wanted a turbo card for your Ojamas, your main Ojama guys, it is just a free like special summon from the deck for them, as long as you stay in the Link's confines. But you know, it's interesting. Roids, Truck Roid, Express Roid, Gyro Roid, Stealth Roid, and way, way more. There's like legitimately like 5 other options you could go into. Roids are definitely more casual, but they have a really strong like counter trap, I believe, as well as like some interesting boss monsters and a really strong like field spell. They're interesting to say the least, and maybe this is a nice little turbo card for them. A meta impacting one possibly is Thunder Dragon Colossus. You can just get a free Thunder Dragon straight to the field, which means you could just end one more Colossus on your board than you otherwise were able to, and that could be the difference in terms of damage to put on for next turn. Just too many Colossuses for your opponent to remove in one turn. Whatever it is, it's pretty strong no matter how you look at it. And Thunder Dragons are already going to be much better in Master Rule 5. We'll just see how Konami tries to hit them on ban lists prior to that to keep them from being the best deck by far. So we'll see. And that's pretty much it. That sums up all the fusions that I thought were interesting with this new card. This new card is really crazy. Obviously, some of these are wonky. They don't work out perfectly, but I didn't go too in-depth. I was more just excited to start talking about this new card. And so I didn't like go super in depth and make sure all those there. But some of them are definitely interesting. Some of them are definitely a little less interesting. Some of them are casual, but still, that just shows you how many decks can possibly benefit from this card. This card is really, really cool, and it's just another hit in my opinion. I think this guy's a really powerful card. I think this is a really powerful card. It feels like every card we've been getting for this entire set has just been like, wow, that's pretty good. Wow, that's pretty good. Wow, that's pretty good in Dinosaurs. Wow, that's pretty good in ABCs. Like everything, it doesn't matter. It's like all pretty good cards, and I'm really, really digging it. I think it's going to make for a really, really powerful set that just has so many desirable cards in it. For no matter like what you play, there's probably going to be something in here for you, which is awesome. So stay tuned, because we still have 30 cards for Eternity Code to like get revealed, and the set comes out in the OCG in exactly a week. So in the next 7 days, we'll be getting those 30 cards there. So stay tuned to find out what comes out there. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Just do it, please. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Peace.